Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mika Latimer. I'm seeing some new faces in the crowd, so I'll reintroduce myself. I was invited here as a youth leader for the World Women Foundation. I am a senior at UC San Diego studying social psychology, and I'm beyond excited to be here. I am going to be announcing the next panel, which is on industrial AI. Our moderator is Anne Chevrier. She is the Growth Marketing Program Senior Manager at Dassault Systems. Please welcome Anne and our esteemed speakers to the stage.
Wir nehmen den Mann in die Mitte.
Ihr flankiert mich.
Genau.
Super.
So, good morning, everyone. I hope you found the space safely with the nice weather conditions we have. At least this year, it's not snowing, so I'm really, really happy to see some sunshine here in Davos. So, welcome to this Roland Berger panel about industrial AI. Why it takes more than just Gen AI use cases. So we are at a critical junction. I think we all agree that industrial automation investments are slowing, yet everyone agrees that AI is transformative. So why is that disconnect? So we're going to cut through the noise today, saying that industrial AI isn't just ChatGPT for factories. It's something fundamentally different that touches everything from shop floor to the boardroom. So it's really something that we should look at. So our panel brings a unique perspective from strategy, operations, technology, and platform innovation. And we'll explore together what industrial AI really means and how European industry can lead this transformation. So let me introduce our esteemed panel, starting with Dr. Edeltraud Leibrock. She is Global Managing Director and Senior Partner at Roland Berger, leading innovation in worldwide scope in a digital platform. She brings extensive experience in technology, digitalization, AI, and transformation from top-tier strategy consulting and senior banking roles, including CEO of a global development bank and group CEO of a major German public bank. She's also a trained physicist and biologist with a PhD in physics, and she also supports several innovation ecosystems, such as the Fraunhofer Technology Transfer Fund and the Center for Artificial Intelligence in Hamburg. Please welcome Edeltraud. So let's continue with the second lady. Nadine Despineux is Chief Sales Officer and member of the Executive Board at Jungheinrich AG, where she drives the transformation toward customer-centric, technology-enabled solutions. Previously, segment CEO at Renk Group and Managing Director at Kraus Maffei for Service and Digital Solution, she combines deep industrial expertise with a strong focus on innovation. Her passion is leveraging cutting-edge technologies and AI to redefine customer experiences, empower employees, and create sustainable value. Please welcome Nadine. And of course, we're in the World Women Davos house, but we're still open for diversity. So let me, be honored. There are not many of them if you look around. You're the lucky one. Let me introduce you to Christian Haltiner. He's the Managing Director Switzerland for Dassault Systems, also a member of the European Central Executive Board. He has over 20 years of experience in the IT sector, including leadership roles at Canon, Microsoft, Rotring Data, and he combines strong sales and partner expertise with a deep understanding of innovation platform, process optimization, and manufacturing. Today, his work centers on virtual twin experiences and digital continuity, helping Swiss industries transform how they design, produce, and operate. Please welcome Christian.
Thank you.
So, let's cut the noise. First question. What is industrial AI? So, we agree that industrial AI isn't just machine learning. It's the marriage of symbolic reasoning with neural networks, deterministic rules with probabilistic models. So what makes industrial AI fundamentally different from what we see in ChatGPT or consumer applications? Good luck.
Well, you gave the answer already, dear Anne. So,
Yeah, that's why, because I want to push you further. We're not just here to talk, but to act. What is the difference?
well, actually, when we're talking as a strategy consultant with our clients in industry, different industries, today's it's actually mostly about Gen AI right now, which has, of course, to do with the rise of Gen AI, and that it's a good thing, actually, that for the first time in human history, we're able to talk to the machine in human language. And that makes a total difference. But industrial AI has been around before Gen AI already. And industrial AI has always been a combination of software and physical systems. So people first started to talk about industrial AI actually in the 1940s when Norbert Wiener coined the term cybernetics. And cybernetics is a steering system, software, that works on a physical system and not just measures, but takes the measurement results for not only predictions, but to steer the system through the next cycle, adapt it, and so on. In the 1940s, this was mostly a theoretical concept. I loved to read as a kid in the 1970s, 80s, science fiction, I can say that, science fiction stories from Stanislav Lem or Herbert W. Franke and so on. And this was always, these were my heroes because they talked about cybernetics. So robots, exploring different planets and solar systems and so on. So science fiction. But today, industrial AI is far beyond science fiction. It's implemented, it's working, it's running. It enables us to equip physical systems with intelligence. And of course, and that I want to add here also, Gen AI is about, you said it, machine learning. So machine learning is one flavor of artificial intelligence that's building on neural networks, and transformer models, the basis for Gen AI, are also built on neural networks. It's just a very smart method to optimize the coefficients in the neural networks very fast and come to very good results in natural language or other forms of expression. But there's also another flavor of AI, which is rule-based. And as a physicist, I've always wondered why now we want to retrieve, reverse engineer all our human expert knowledge from the data we put onto the internet for the last 25 years. That doesn't make sense. I mean, we know physics, we know nature's law. We don't have to reinvent that from sparse data we have on the internet. But we can combine these two flavors of AI, and you said it, the newly coined term for that is neurosymbolic, so neural networks and symbolic AI. And I think that's the next breakthrough in industrial AI. And I think we'll also be talking about data, structured and unstructured data, but I don't want to give a front-loaded talk here, but rather ask my esteemed colleagues here on the panel.
Who wants to go first?
I can go first. So first of all, I would say if you talk on industrial AI, before AI, you have to understand industry, right? You have to understand industry, and we as Dassault Systems, I would say we understand industry. We have the largest industry customer base built over 40 years, so that you have an impression. I would say 90% of all planes are built, engineered, somehow and manufactured by our software. Maybe 85% of all cars and so on. And as well in pharma, we are quite strong. So I would say end to end across the value chain, we understand industry and industry data, right? And if we talk really on industrial AI, I would say there are 3 dimensions that we see. First, it must be trustable if we talk on AI in industry. Second, it must be secure, and it must be sovereign. So starting with sovereign and sovereignty, I mean, if you look to industry and intellectual property, so there's always the question, where is the data? And if you then look on security, is the data really secure, right? And I think these are 2 subjects that get more and more important as well for European industries, where to put that really, right? And if we look on trustable data, then it was always a question, okay, if you would like in the industry adapt AI, and it's more than Gen AI, somehow you need to have the data right. And it's really the data, there are many dimensions of data, right? Because if you are building a plane or a car, you have mechanical data, you have electrical data, you have software, and even all these dimensions put together then a complete system, right? And these systems, we would say it's a software-defined vehicle or car today, right? So we call that the virtual twin, for example, from a car. And if you have all that data right with the structure and all documents that you need as well attached, then you can think really about how do I put AI on top, right? And if you do it right, then there are really exceptional outcomes. Because if you can imagine, let's assume you have a factory, right? A model of a factory with all the data of all equipment in the factory, all the processes and so on. And you could ask then really AI, more or less, bring me 20 new layouts of this factory that are optimized. And you will get that maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, where in the past, a couple of engineers might have to build that in 2 years from now. So it will speed up really the productivity in industry, and therefore we see that as a game changer. But of course, what you need is as well somehow a platform for where you store that industrial data, and I think there we have an answer as Dassault Systems. Second, maybe just shortly, if we talk on really industrial AI, it's as well about knowledge and know-how. Where is the competence in the end, and where is this knowledge and know-how of industries? And as well there, what we see coming are more or less virtual companions or virtual assistants, however you call it, or Copilot in Microsoft, where you have really kind of virtual working force, right, that helps you somehow to build really the products of the future. And that will be very interesting, right? And that's always in context of the industry. So there's a bright future ahead, but it's a way to go there.
Yeah, I agree to that. I mean, we are coming from a classical German mechanical engineering company. So it's not typical that you then go and jump into AI. You're coming from software, that's much more natural than it is for us. But for us, and I believe that's something which is for a lot of European companies relevant. Industrial AI is a game changer. I also believe in that one. But it's not like a tech hype. And I think that's super relevant and important when you lead a company, that you find out what really matters, what does make the difference. And it needs to be part of a fundamental strategy if you wanted to move the company into, especially if you're very hardware heavy loaded, into that future where AI is really driving the company. And you asked, like, what is industrial AI? For us, fundamental important is the governance. When you do not have governance properly in place, it is super, super risky, because you risk your customer relationship. AI is very helpful, but it can be a massive danger if there's wrong decisions made. Yeah. So for us, and we heard it in the panel before, having clear guidelines in place. So we have created AI office, which makes sure that whatever happens in the company is governed by clear guidelines. We are a stock-listed company. We cannot afford that we are making mistakes because we introduced a new technology and it's, you have to be on Vogue, so you have to be there. This is not an option for us. Yeah. So when we look to AI, making sure having a strong governance, making sure that we have anti-bias tests, making sure that we have compliance readiness, making sure that we understand decisions which are made, and for us, having always the human in the loop. For us, it's not like, let's let it run, let it optimize, but making sure that there's somebody who checks that constantly and making sure whatever is implemented is ready tested and always is the loop of rechecking reality and whether that's like the reality we wanted to see. So that's something which is super relevant for us.
Thank you. Like each and every one said like one word I want to challenge you on. So you said data, you said sovereignty, and you said compliance. So generative AI hallucinates from time to time. Industrial system, we can't afford it to. That's our industrial crown jewels. It's like a strategic important thing. How do we make industrial data AI ready while keeping our feet firmly on the ground? And how do we move from fear to strategic action?
Wow, now you hit on my favorite topic.
I know.
You have to stop me if I'm talking too long now. Because I start with a story about data. And why you said it, I mean, structured data are the crown jewels of all our companies, really. And Nadine, you talked about the risk that is also associated with the use of AI. And IP is also a risk. I mean, making our crown jewels accessible, maybe for others to make use of them. If we had today Christian Thun on the panel. He's the CEO of the European Data Warehouse, which was founded, I think, 2011 or 12, after the financial crisis by the European Central Bank in order to bring transparency into the asset-backed market. And so for more than 10 years now, they're collecting data from all asset-backed transactions, credit transactions all over Europe. You can imagine what data treasure that really is. And this data is available for just little money to everyone. And Christian would let you guess who are the customers for these data. And unfortunately, it's not mostly the Europeans themselves, but it's customers from the US, from Asia. That also goes into the sovereignty topic you will be talking about. Yeah. So actually, we have to think how to make accessible the crown jewels of our companies for ourselves in a sovereign way. And this is not self-explanatory. It's not. But it's not easy, but it's not super complicated either. These structured data have never meant to be accessible by human natural language. They are stored in data silos, which match the organizational silos of the companies and have been designed to be machine readable by mostly proprietary systems. So they're not really accessible for Gen AI without first adding context to them. And that's super, super important because without context, there's no intelligence whatsoever. So neither human, natural, artificial, nor alien, nor any form of intelligence without context. So you have to add context to that data. And there I'm also going back in time, way back in time, this time into the 1950s to early computer linguistics. And Margaret Masterman, for example, was one of the first pioneers with semantic graphs. Now that sounds complicated, and I could give a talk about that. I would love to, but I'll spare you the full lecture today. Google reinvented the semantic graph as their knowledge graph in 2012. They're organizing their huge data by their own knowledge graph. And these knowledge graphs, or semantic graphs I rather call them, we need them to really integrate data across processes, across organizational silos, company-wide, maybe even together with partners you're working with in industry, and to make structured and unstructured data accessible within its context. So if you're interested in more, just approach me afterwards. I stop here.
I can jump on that one.
Yes.
Have a good example. You know, you always ask, like, where is the use case where we really generate value? So for us, it's service. We have 6,000 service techs outside there, service scales. So core idea, having something like ChatGPT for our service techs, because they use a lot of time to look into documents and search for the right information and so on. So what we have done is we have basically feeded a ChatGPT, industrial AI ChatGPT, with all the data, with all the reports, with all the drawings, with all the technical documentation, and we thought that's genius, right? Because then you have all the information available. Unfortunately, technical documentation have like drawings which are describing how you build and rebuild parts, which is extremely helpful for humans because you see how it is like constructed. AI is dumb. AI looks at that and have no information at all. So what we had to do is enrich the data with vector graphs, which allows us then that AI can read it. Took us 1.5 years to get all the data cleaned, to have now the system ready. But it's like initially a great idea, data available, but the data which you have, you cannot use. So a good example of it doesn't help just having data. You need to have the right data, right? So.
Yeah, I see your case. I might just add something out of my experience, right? As we work 40 years in the industries. So it was interesting, really some decades ago, right, when Dassault Systems introduced as well the concept of product lifecycle management, right? It was at that point in time really there was the need, and all saw that you have to structure the data across your value chain, right? Because if you are building an airplane and you need to provide all the documents and all the data and information, somehow you need really kind of data backbone with structured data to put all and link that all then to your product development process. So the concept of PLM was widely shared in the industries, by the way, not in the service industry, but in the core industries, it was widely shared. And at that point in time, many adapted that, and the ones that did that are still now in a better position than the ones that did not. And out of this product lifecycle management motion, where you had a lot of files and a lot of documents, there was another wave coming where you saw the need that you go away from documents. If you build, for example, a plane, that you go in a data-driven and model-based approach. So that means in the end, every part of a product is in a data set, right? And of course, you can attach as well documents, but you need that data sets as well to model more or less the product in the end, and that you can then as well simulate, test, and validate that in a virtual environment. And if you do that and put the right ontologies on it,
Exactly, that's the word.
That's the word. If you put the right ontologies on it, then these structures data become readable, and then you can put it in the context. And what we are saying actually now, and what we are building, is these virtual twins that more or less we get that virtual assets to life, right? In the end, it's a product lifecycle backbone with the right ontologies and attach other documents and data on it. And if you do that right, then you can really apply this industrial AI, and then really you can leverage all the productivity that you need. And so it's more a data play, actually, first. And I see still a way to go, because if I look to the industry, especially small and mediums enterprises, they sometimes even do not fully buy in the PLM concept, right? But actually what I see they have to do now, because otherwise industrial AI, they cannot leverage it, right? And therefore I see a revival of structured PLM data, and I try really as well to push in Switzerland that the companies go there first, because that's the way to go if you would then put AI on top. But do first the data piece right. Otherwise, there's no chance. Yeah.
Thank you. Unfortunately, our time is already over. Because I have tons of questions like workforce transformation, USA, China versus Europe, how do we survive, stuff like that, but we take that one offline. One closing sentence, one sentence each. What should the audience and everyone in live streaming take away from this panel?
Yeah, for me, if you forget everything from this talk, but just remember one thing, it would be all intelligence needs context. No context, no intelligence. And we've talked about ontologies.
Yes.
That's actually the basis for a semantic graph. You have to build the business ontologies. Whoever thinks of Palantir when hearing about ontologies, yes, that's the business model of Palantir, but you don't have to give your data to Palantir. There's alternatives. There's European alternatives. You can even build your own ontology, your own semantic graph. It's not super complicated. Everyone who understands language, nouns and verbs can connect data, nodes with their relationships to each other, the edges, and then you have an ontology or a semantic graph. It's really not that complicated. So that's the one thing to remember. Just do it.
I would just add, do the data basics, the industrial data basics right in a secure and sovereign way. I think that's now the core question for every enterprise in Europe, right? It's really the core question. Do that first, and then I think you have the backbone really to evolve and to adapt an industrial AI. But there's a lot to do in the basic work. Go there, do that, because otherwise it gets really difficult.
I would say select real impact cases for your company. Don't do everything at the same. Select the ones which really generate value. Number two, have a strong governance. I think then you have a good chance that you can use this technology, make a difference, and create really a competitive edge.
Thank you. Like the question isn't whether embrace industrial AI, but whether if you lead or follow. And for those who want to lead, you have the experience shown just next slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.